Hello and welcome to Policy Debate. My name is David Ralph, and for over 20 years I've been involved in the debate world as a competitor, assistant coach, and head coach. During my time involved with debate, I've been able to work with hundreds of kids and have enjoyed watching their success. I'm looking forward to getting the chance to navigate the maze of debate with you. Now, this course will look a little different from other classes. Most of the lessons will be associated with a video such as today's. The goal is to focus our class time on more hands-on activities and allow you the opportunity to use technology to revisit and review concepts on your own time. Welcome to my home. This one's being recorded in my house. Some of the videos I will record, some of the videos will be done by students, and some are from various places that I have found on the internet. Now, today's video will give you a basic overview of policy debate. Just enough to understand the event, but not enough to overwhelm you. See, policy debate is one of many competitive speech and debate events offered at tournaments. The debate round is made up of 2 students on the affirmative team and 2 students on the negative team. During the debate round, the affirmative team will propose a policy and describe why it's a good idea, and the negative team will oppose the policy and describe why it's a bad idea. Both teams will use evidence and analysis to support their positions. Now, all students from across the nation who participate in policy debate will debate the same national topic. Having a national topic ensures that any debater from any one high school can debate anyone from any other high school, and both debaters have researched the same topic. The topic itself is called the resolution. The resolution for this year is resolved. The United States federal government should substantially increase its economic and diplomatic engagement with the People's Republic of China. Now, this might seem like a complicated sentence at first, but let's give it another look. You know what the United States federal government is. You also know what the People's Republic of China is. It's the government of China. What we will have to spend our time discovering this semester is what is economic engagement and what does diplomatic engagement mean? Economic engagement is just a fancy way of saying trade. So what and how we trade with China it will basically be the central part of our debate this year. Now, diplomatic engagement means our country works with another country, or how it works with another country. In this case, our government works with China and how they do that in terms of solving world problems. So this year's topic is basically our government should trade more with China, or our government should do more with China to solve global problems. Now let's spend a few minutes talking about the status quo, and that's just a $10 word for a $2 idea. The status quo is the way things are right now. In the status quo, China is a growing world power. The United States currently works with and trades with China in a variety of sectors, but there are clearly more areas we could do a better job with. The US and China could do more work together on climate change, preventing North Korea from nuclear expansion, or even in outer space cooperation. These are just a few examples of what we might be discussing this year. Now, obviously, some people believe we shouldn't work with China, and that in doing so, we open our door to a Chinese takeover. We can see that there are always 2 sides to every potential topic area, and that's why they call it a debate. Now, I told you earlier about the affirmative and negative teams. Let's take a look at what each team is supposed to do in the debate round. The affirmative team offers the resolution and they must affirm it, which means they agree that the government should trade more with China or work with them diplomatically. But the affirmative team doesn't just get up and say they agree with the resolution. They must actually propose a policy to change the status quo. And the policy change must fall within the limits of the resolution. So an affirmative team could, for example, propose a policy to work with China in outer space. The resolution is the big picture, whereas the affirmative policy will be a specific part of that resolution. Currently, in the status quo, we don't do that much work in outer space with China. If the affirmative were to propose their plan and offer to have it passed, we would. Now, the job of the negative team is to negate the resolution or say that the proposed affirmative policy change is a bad idea. To negate means to disagree with or oppose, so the negative team would argue that the affirmative policy change is a bad idea. In our example, the negative team would argue that working with China in outer space would lead them to using our developed technologies as a weapon against us that could potentially destroy the world. So that's what the two sides do, but what does a debate round actually look like? As you can guess, each team takes turns presenting their ideas and responding to the ideas presented by the opposing team. The affirmative team gets to go first, and in their speech, the affirmative team will try to prove two things. First, that the status quo is in fact harmful, or something is lacking in the status quo. Second, that their proposed policy is advantageous to the status quo. In other words, if we did it, there would be more benefit to doing it than disadvantage to doing it. Now, the negative team gives the next speech, and their job is to prove that the proposed policy would be worse than the status quo. And the debate round continues with each team alternating speeches to prove their points and disprove their opponent's points. Policy debate also features cross-examinations, which is why we sometimes call policy debate cross-ex debate. A cross-examination allows a member of the opposing team to ask questions of the person who just gave a speech, and the person being cross-examined is not allowed to ask questions. They can only answer the questions they are being asked. It's the fun part of the debate. By the end of the debate round, each of the four debaters will have given a constructive, a rebuttal, and a cross-examination. The constructive speech, which occurs in the first half of the debate round, allows a debater to build or construct his or her argument. The cross-examinations, which occur between constructives, give debaters a chance to ask clarifying questions. And then the rebuttal, which occurs in the last part of the debate, allows each debater to summarize his or her ideas and make closing arguments. So, how do you win at a debate? Well, as you know, policy debate is a competitive activity, and this means that every round has a winning team and a losing team. No ties. So who decides that? Well, an adult in the back of the classroom listens to both teams, takes notes, and determines a winner. This person is called the judge. The judge also provides a written or oral ballot in which he or she gives the reasons for his or her decision and the feedback on which each of the teams did right and what they could do better for next time. Some debate judges have lots of experience, which gives both teams some flexibility and determines how technical and intense the debate round can be. Sort of like lawyers and their arguments, and you decide with your jury how you want to adjust to that with that jury. Now, other debate judges have little or no experience, which gives both teams the flexibility to have a very persuasive, more slower round, less technical. You would decide that you need to speak to this judge and use communication skills. Most debate rounds that have two novices in them will also have this novice type of judge in the back of the room. Now, of course, in order to prove anything to a judge, you need evidence. Evidence gives credibility and weight to your arguments. Without evidence, the judge just sees teenagers making arguments with no claims, no warrants, or support. With evidence, the judge sees debaters proving their points with published research that provides statistics, examples, analysis, and reasoning. And that's the hard part of debate. If you wanted to prove that the Chinese government would, in fact, use our technology in space as a weapon, for example, you might need to read a short paragraph from a newspaper article that was published a few months ago. You'll tell the judge where the evidence came from, when and where it was published, the credentials of the article or the author, and what the author said in that article. Just imagine the huge difference between you saying that the Chinese government would steal our technology for weapons versus reading evidence from a legal scholar who says that it will in fact occur if we were to do this. If it's just you saying it, there's no proof that you are right. If you provide evidence with a credible source, then you have proven your claim, and it's up to the opposing team to either discredit your source or provide better evidence. And now here's a bit of good news. In the world of debate, debaters are expected to use evidence to support nearly everything they say. As a result, this means arriving at the tournaments with thousands and thousands of pieces of evidence, and that means a lot of research. Luckily, the debate community has done an outstanding job of collectively researching, organizing, and writing arguments with evidence on the current topic and providing those research files online for free. Of course, you'll spend a lot of time doing your own research, but you'll also want to look at the free evidence online to supplement your work. You're going to have to read, you're going to have to understand what's on there, file it, But the good news is a lot of that work is already done for you and will save you a lot of time. Now, there's one thing I haven't told you yet. Policy debate is also switch side debate, which means that you alternate between affirmative and negative. In the first round of the tournament, you might be negative against debaters from one school, and in the second round, you might be affirmative against debaters from a different school. This system of alternating sides does not only make sure that there's an equal number of teams on each side, it also makes sure you're a better debater and critical thinker. Now, I want to wrap things up today with a celebration of why I think you'll love policy debate. On the surface, debate can be a little confusing and complex. You feel lost in that maze. If you've ever had someone try to explain a board game to you, then you know that sometimes you just have to get the basics and just start playing the game to truly understand and appreciate it. Well, that's true with debate. Your first few debate rounds will be filled with confusion and maybe even a little frustration, but they'll also be kind of fun. Within a few rounds, you'll start to get the hang of it, and you may even win a few rounds. You'll start to develop your strategy and get better at it. And by the end of your first tournament, the fog of confusion will start to lift. You'll start to see the maze a little bit more clearer, and you'll begin to understand why so many kids love debate. And if you stick with it, you'll see why debate changes people's lives, like it has mine. You'll discover that you'll no longer have trouble organizing your thoughts when you're talking to friends or parents or teachers. Your words and sentences will be smooth and logical. No more being frustrated because all the good ideas in your head get jumbled up and confused when they come out of your mouth. Stay with debate for a few years, and you'll have the confidence and ability to listen and speak like a champion. I promise. So, that's our introduction to debate. I hope you've learned enough to kind of pique your interest, and now you're ready for more. Good luck, debaters.